Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Ali here, a platform where we have some casual conversations about sex, relationships, and other fun stuff. You probably clicked on this video thinking, what the F is a sex doll brothel? My thoughts exactly. I had no idea, but we're gonna dive into this video topic today. So trigger warning, if you find sex dolls kind of creepy and controversial, don't watch it. Now, why are we talking about this? So recently I was contacted by a sex doll company to pursue a collaboration. I get a lot of emails from a lot of people for collaborations. When you got a sex channel on YouTube, you get a lot of interesting requests. Now, I've gotten sex doll requests before, but I usually never open them and just sort of graze over them and forget about it. But on this particular day, I had some time. I opened up the email and they spoke a lot about emotional well-being and mental health and so on. And it piqued my curiosity a little bit. So I did what any other person would do. I went on YouTube. I typed in sex dolls because I was curious to know what kind of content is out there. What are people interested in? What do people want to know about sex dolls? And I went down the YouTube rabbit hole because I discovered sex doll brothels, which I didn't know was a thing. You think in this world, you know everything. Then you hear something like that. And these videos were 7-8 years old. So this is not a new thing. And maybe you all know about it, but I certainly didn't. Oh, you guys should see my YouTube algorithm page. It is very eclectic. Anyways, I know this topic is very controversial and I really want to hear your thoughts about it. But first, we are going to explore what exactly is a sex doll brothel. So sex doll brothels are businesses where clients can rent hyper-realistic, life-size dolls for private use. These dolls are usually made out of materials like silicone or TPE, which stands for thermoplastic elastomer. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And they look and feel lifelike. When I went on the website and browsed these dolls, they ain't lying. These dolls are incredible. The detail that is put into them, they do look lifelike. And they don't just have women, they have men, they have transgender. They have whatever you want. You could even create your own based on skin type, based on size, based on gender, anything you want. If you got money to pay for it, they got it. So the first sex doll brothel opened in 2017 in Barcelona called Lumi Dolls. And since then, there have been several others that have been popping up here and there, including Canada, my home country, Japan, and Germany. One interesting prediction that I read online was that by the year 2050, sex workers in places like Amsterdam will be replaced by sex robots. Now, I think it's probably more realistic to anticipate that sex dolls or sex robots will be more of a supplement to sex workers than actually replacing them. I hope so, anyways. But in today's world, consumers can choose from an increasing variety of male or female companions, either as a purchase or as a rental from short-term brothels. Now, these dolls can be very, very expensive. We're talking in the thousands of dollars. I mean, I checked online. They ain't cheap. They range from like $3,000 to $10,000+. Short-term rentals, a brothel type of establishment, is way more realistic for people than actually purchasing one of these dolls. And I actually learned that there was a brothel that opened in Ontario, Canada. It's not open anymore, but it really looks like a normal brothel, or at least what I would think a normal brothel looks like. You have some hotel rooms. The rooms have a TV, a bed, some condoms, some lube. You have the doll propped up on there. Each doll has their name. And what was interesting is that this business owner said that a lot of the clients that they get don't even have sex with the dolls. Although I don't know how they would actually know that without having cameras in the room, but maybe they get feedback, or maybe it's the state of the room when they go in after, where the doll is untouched and the condoms are still there. I'm not sure. But he said that a lot of them would go in and just lie on the couch with the doll and watch TV, and that was it. So it sounds a little bit more like companionship or something like that. Anyways, this topic is very controversial. I'm still not sure how I feel about it. That's why I wanted to talk to you all about it. Some of the controversies that do surround sex dolls, number one being moral and ethical concerns. So some critics argue that sex toy brothels promote objectification and commodifying intimacy. Others worry about dolls designed to resemble minors, which some claim could normalize very harmful behavior. Not to mention the doll not being able to consent to anything. So you'll have people go in and do things to these dolls that are what I would think unimaginable stuff. And then if they're not able to disassociate between, dolls and humans, they would go out into the real world and do these things to real people, which wouldn't be Very good. And then we have the impact on human relationships. So some people believe that widespread use of sex dolls can lead to a decline in human connection, which I might agree with. You know, we're already lacking so much connection, so why would we want to reinforce that? Not to mention that these dolls are created with extremely unrealistic expectations of the human body. So in a study where 700 dolls that were targeted towards the US market were analyzed and found that none of them were anything like the US population, and they were all hypergendered, hypersexualized, and racially fetishized. Finally, you got health and safety, because FYI, you can still get an STI from having sex with a sex doll. So if these dolls are not cleaned properly, so if you go to this brothel and people aren't cleaning them and not dumping them in bleach and whatever and just totally disinfecting them between each use, you can get an STI. Hence why there are still condoms in the room. You need to use a condom if you're gonna have sex with a sex doll in a brothel and you're gonna be sharing that doll with other people. FYI, just in case. Be mindful of that. You can still get sick. There are for sure other controversies surrounding this issue. I only named a few. I'm still very about it, but, and there's a but, where I can potentially see some benefit. And actually, I put a poll out on my Patreon asking my patrons what they thought about sex dolls. And the majority of them responded, they are interesting, but not for me. And by the way, speaking of my Patreon, I often post polls because I love to pick your brain and get your feedback on things. There's a lot of engagement on my Patreon, and I do post a lot of exclusive content on there. I post a lot of vlogs about me and my partner's travels. I post a lot of extra details about the stories that I share with you all online and so on. It's just a really great way to engage with you all. And it's also a really great way to support this channel. So you can actually join for free, or you can join and contribute a little bit something extra. And that money really goes a long way to help support the growth and maintenance of this channel, because making sex education content online, especially on YouTube, is very sensitive and it's very hard to monetize. So it really helps, it really goes a long way and supports me as a creator. So if you're interested, you could click on the link below this video to check it out. And just like a big thank you to everyone who is currently there. Back to the poll. Most of them said that they were interesting, but not for me. And I kind of like fall into that. I'm still feeling a little bit cringe with the dolls. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I feel like we can find some benefits to it, arguably. For example, safe exploration. So you have people that want to pursue very specific fantasies, or people with physical disabilities. Dolls can be a safe way to explore these desires. And think about people who may never have a close physical relationship, connection, contact with another human being, because there are a large population of people out there who may never. So this can be a way to mitigate that, especially since, for example, sex surrogacy is still very much illegal in many parts of the world. There's also therapeutic uses. Many psychologists argue that dolls can help people with intimacy issues, with crippling anxiety, or those recovering from trauma by allowing controlled sexual experiences. Another pro is that it could potentially limit the sex traffic trade. When we think about it, would we rather have people having sex with sex dolls rather than humans who are there against their own will or who have been coerced into being there, right? Where is this all headed? Especially with AI and advances in technology now, which are paving the way for even more lifelike dolls that can interact, respond, and have basic conversations. In fact, Real Doll, US sex doll company, recently released an AI companion feature, allowing dolls to express emotions and simulate basic conversations. That's crazy. Siri and Alexa are really coming to life now. So as technology improves, the line between humans and artificial companionship could blur even further. Love him or hate him, sex doll brothels are a part of a larger conversation about how we think about intimacy. So what do you think? Do you think these brothels are harmless outlets? Do you think they're very problematic? I would love to hear what you have to say. Again, I don't really know where I stand on the topic. I still feel like icky about it, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to draw some positives from here, some benefits, because I think there might be some, but yeah, I don't know. So that being said, when it comes to the sex doll company that reached out to me, I said, hold off, let me think about it. I'll get back in touch with you if I would like to pursue. we'll see. We'll see. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Funny story, on my Patreon, someone commented that, well, someone who responded and said interesting, but not for me, said that they creep them out, but they could see some benefits, especially in situations like, let's say, threesomes, where a couple maybe wants a third, but doesn't necessarily want to get involved in the potential emotional entanglement that could happen, which I thought was an interesting point, especially because Gab and I have participated in a few threesomes in the past, and I tried to imagine me and Gab with a sex doll, and I honestly don't know if Gab could keep a straight face during our intimate time with the doll. It would be interesting. I don't know if I'm willing to try. I don't know. Anyways, friends, thank you so much for watching this video today. Please drop in the comments below what you think about sex doll brothels. Interesting topic of conversation today. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Je vous aime.